Good morning, everyone. I'm just off to work, just waiting for the bus. I've been having a think on my walk to the bus stop about the fact that I'm working in England. For those of you who don't know, I'd grown up in Pakistan and in London, and then my family moved over to Scotland, and now I've come back to Manchester. And Manchester is about 2 hours away from London by train. And there are some areas of Manchester which look quite similar to London. And when I look at some of the areas, I get a bit emotional about my childhood. I remember what it was like to grow up in London. And at the time we were moving away from London, I was not happy because I'd made friends there and I wanted to live there for the rest of my life. And I was not happy with my parents. But now looking back at everything, because of the fact I moved a lot, I think it gave me quite a lot of strength. It made me quite resilient as a person, and it sort of gave me the ability to be able to make new friends in different places that I moved to. Growing up, I was blaming my parents for a lot of things, and one of them was that they made me move around so much, and I could never have a place I could call home. I had to keep moving to new places and making new friends. And in some ways, it is good to grow up in the same place your whole life, make lifelong friends, know your local area, have a sense of identity. But I think in other ways it sort of hinders you. You don't get a full sort of life experience. You don't get to meet people from different places. You don't get to try different cultures. So in a way, what you want is more adversity in your life. You want tougher times because they will build strength and build your character. Okay, so I'm just starting my lunch break and I'm just gonna go get a sandwich. I think at some point in my life I decided that I no longer wanted to blame my parents and society and human nature and everything else for my problems. I decided that anything bad that happens to me from that point onwards was purely my own fault, which is a sort of radical approach because it's not always the case that if something bad happens to you that it is your fault. But I decided that I would treat it as such and blame myself fully for it because I felt that no matter what happens, there is always something that you can learn from anything. I think a problem occurs when, say, you've applied for lots of jobs and you keep getting rejected, and let's say that you don't get any feedback. So you can either assume that there's lots of candidates, there's not that many jobs, you got unlucky, etc., or you can assume that you're probably not doing the application very well. Now both of these things will have a truth for them, but I think in the second scenario you can actually learn something rather than just blame fate or a lack of luck on the reason why things are going wrong for you. Of course, it doesn't apply to every scenario, but I think for me it has been a much better approach to living my life as compared to what I was doing before, which was not taking any responsibility for anything that was going wrong and just pretending to be confused all the time as to why is this happening to me? Why am I so unlucky? And I think it's been a difficult approach for me to follow, but it has forced me to find solutions to my problems. So whereas beforehand I would just ignore my problems and not really deal with them and find ways to cope, now I try to tackle everything head on, and if I have an issue I try my best to fix it and deal with it straight away or as soon as I can, rather than leaving it in the back of my head. If there's something that I want, not letting it just stay as a dream. Try to find out what the reality of the situation is, whether or not something is possible. Okay, so I've finished work and now I'm just gonna walk home. It usually takes me about an hour to get home, but I like to do the walk because it's kind of relaxing. I can de-stress, think about the different things that are going on in my life. I think the difference that occurred once I stopped blaming my past and my parents and other circumstances for my problems was that it allowed me to stop seeing myself as like a victim, and I could recognize that I'm someone who has agency over my life, that I have strength and I can face the problems that I have rather than sort of seeing things happen to me all the time. I could see myself doing things that affect my life. I don't think there is one right or wrong approach. Different things work for different people, and this is something that I've applied to my life, and it's been having positive effects so far. Everyone's life comes with their own challenges, and I think the best we can do is try and face them head on in whatever way we can. I hope you enjoyed today's vlog, and I'll see you next time.